Hey guys, so some more old broadband hardware here. Again, if you're in the UK, you may well recognise this thing. To be fair, this one is right. They're normally bright yellow in terms of heat-related yellowing at this stage, and this one does have the more unusual decked dock on the front. This is a BT Homehub, or a BT Homehub 1.5, or a BT Smart Hub. This was the first, well, technically the second router style offering all-in-one job that BT did with the ADSL service. For a short time they did use a two-wire based device, which was just as much junk as this was. But many of you have probably got some bad memories about this, because this was the first time that anyone had really tried this, making an all-in-one smart hub rather than just a router, and yeah, it sucked. Assuming it didn't catch fire or melt or go bright yellow, the performance on these was pretty bad, and the reliability was even worse. So this is an ADSL2 device, and we have a couple of features in here. So if I pull this off the front, there we go. So most of them you'll have seen will have had a grey cover on here, and this is what the grey cover was for. So there was a phone available with this, a decked cordless phone, and apparently there is a level of interoperability with other decked cordlesses with this unit. It was unusual to see the phone. It was something that BT pushed and then really realised very quickly maybe that's not such a great idea. The unit itself is big and thin and designed to sit like that. We look on the back, we have one Wi-Fi antenna. This is very, very basic, very early Wi-Fi on here. Again, it did not perform very well. I believe this only does 2.4 gigahertz and it predates 802.11g, so we don't even get our 54 megs on this. We can hinge the bottom down, and on the bottom we have, fairly early on in the life of this, a USB port. We've also got a USB host port as well, so it may have been possible to plug media into this. I don't know, I never actually did it. It can be used as a straight PPP modem, the same way that the speed touches were, although I believe in this case it showed up as an Ethernet adapter. You have two 10100 network ports, you have a phone port, and you have the line port. This does not need a microfilter. Again, it's being done automatically in here, and you would loop your phone through the device, and obviously that's how the built-in deck would work. So it was a good start. It was a step in the right direction, and it was the first step into the direction of the multifunction devices that we have now from all of the other providers. But because it was the first and it wasn't particularly good, it gained a reputation fairly quickly, with a lot of people deciding to use their own equipment. So we needed to work out how to get into this without completely destroying it. I'm just going to pause you and go grab a pack of spudges. So on my way through, I've also checked my notes, and these were actually G capable. They were 802.11bg. So let's see how we get into this. Which spudger should we go for? We'll go for a miniature crowbar. So they had reliability issues, they had overheating issues. These used to get hot, and for some reason they did yellow quite badly as well. So seeing one this colour is unusual. I don't have any particular desire not to destroy it, but it would be nice to do it if we can. So we've got a clip there, that's just taken my fingers, a clip there, and then I think we don't have an awful lot of choice on not destroying it. I don't remember these being particularly easy to get into. You can sit there and watch me struggle with this thing now. So that does come off fairly easy, and that starts the process. I think we may need multiple spudges. So push that and twist. That gets us somewhere. It gets me a spudger in the face. There is actually a screw in there. That seems cruel and unusual. I wonder if there's any more hidden in here. There is a screw in there. You ain't going to reach it with that. It's still not going to be any easier to get in. I can see the clips now though. Seriously, I did not want you getting into this. And I'm not sure that at the time anyone would really have wanted to. There we go, that seems easier. There we go. And despite not wanting to break it, we've broken it. Oh well, such is life. So, okay, this is not making it easy to get into, and it's now just falling to pieces. So I'm guessing this is now going to die. So that is our power connector to our deck dock on the front. And how is this board retained? It is drastic plastic clips, which are also brittle. And our board will come out, and we will disconnect those. So one of the biggest criticisms on most all-in-one hubs like this is, oh, you can see how filthy this is in here. One of the biggest criticisms is the Wi-Fi performance, and it's normally because a lot of them have aerials buried deep in it. As you can see, we've got one sort of token gesture, an aerial there, and we've got one tucked away in here that's just glued down. It's low down, it's probably fairly close. It's not really, I suppose it's exposed, but even then it's not a particularly good aerial. But the biggest criticism of these all-in-one type units comes down to the aerial. So what have we got in here? So again, let's get me pointy. And we'll bring you down a bit now so you can look at the board. So again, we have a power input, a USB host, a USB slave, two 10100 Ethernet ports, a phone output or a phone connection, and the line. So some of this will be on microfilter for the phone. We then have a decked module here. Now at the time this was supposed to be industry standard and would work with most decked phones. It's not something I really tried at the time, and I'm not sure many others did. Those of them that did use this hub with a phone used it with the phone that was supplied. We have the Wi-Fi modules here, and for some reason, oh no, they're not as far away as I thought they are. So we have our Wi-Fi module here, and then we have our two connectors off to the aerials, and then we have our function lights across the top. We have some RAM for the processor. We have the processor, which is a BCM 6348KPBG, and that is going to be an all-in-one sort of application processor type thing. And we even have, and I know this for a fact, a UART header down here. Now the earlier ones of these were unlocked and you could do all sorts with them, and I believe these will run OpenWRT, although whether they meet the space requirements nowadays, I don't know. We have our ROM here, which will be flash, and then we have another Broadcom chip there, a BCM 4318 EBK, and I would imagine that is part of the Wi-Fi system. We have these really quite bizarre connections. Let's see if I can get it to zoom in. If you see there with that green and red Y go on, it's really quite bizarre swirled connections. I'm sure there's a reason for them, but not sure. On the back we have something interesting. We have a couple of interesting things going on. So we've got more test points. I don't believe they do anything interesting. We have here a Philips chip. It is a microcontroller, and my guess is that's involved with the DECT. That would be our controller for the DECT side of things. We have an obviously missing PCI MCA slot here, or something very similar to it. So I'm not sure what that might have been, why that option would even have been there. It's quite possible that this is available in other configurations. They were used by other providers. I believe these were made by Inventel, who were eventually brought out by Alcatel. We have a modem access code there. I wonder if that ties with the one on the box. So it ends in 73591, and curiously that doesn't actually relate to anything on the back of here. Now, there was a concern, and I believe there still is, with the level of control that BT have on these, and they can disable devices on your network, so it's another reason a lot of people change them out. But yeah, there's not really much else going on there. There's a lot of local regulation going on here, and you can see again around our phone side of things there's quite a bit of isolation. We have a test point there, which is a hoop for a probe. That's nice. Not that anyone's going to use it. Again, lots of local regulation going on. Got an EEPROM down there. So I think the division is basically everything down here is our DECT, and then all of this snakes its way up. And looking at the pairs that leave here, we've probably got our Ethernet interfaces actually on this chip. This is our Wi-Fi, and so this is our ROM, and there's some power management going on there. And that also looks like, is it? No, it hasn't leaked, but that is one of the aluminium electrolytics that have a habit of leaking. So that's all there is in this one. It's not a great deal, and these things never are. Even at this stage, they were so highly integrated. We will be looking at a slightly later tender, one that sort of comes from roughly the same sort of era, and you'll see that will look exactly the same. And all BT have done is incrementally upgraded these as they've gone on. Thompson carried on making them for quite a while. I don't know who makes the current BT hubs, and there is all sorts of reasons not to use the provider's modem. As I said, these were not particularly reliable, and many people replaced them with fairly cheap Chinese routers at that point. You've got to remember that companies like TP-Link, Tender, Netgear, Belkin were not really doing much at this point. Belkin would release their first all-in-one modem router not long after this, so this is very, very early days, and no one was really pushing anyone to innovate at this point, or no one was innovating yet. We weren't really sure about where it was going to go. So yeah, there we go. Oh, we've got a DECT aerial there as well. There you go. Anyway, that's all there is in one of those white boxes. As you can see, it's not particularly pleasant to take apart, and as I say, that is the first real UK all-in-one modem router that was kicking around. Anyway, take care.